Don't fight me, we're doing it. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan, and today I have a book recommendations video for you. And being on what I'm wearing and what day it is, I think we all know where this might be going. Surprisingly, I was gonna wear purple, another little hint there, a little Easter egg if you will, but I don't own really purple clothing. Who knew? So I felt like this Eras Tour concert hoodie was the next best choice or option here. What we're doing today is book recommendations based on songs from Speak Now, Taylor's version. I am doing this in two parts. I'm gonna do the original songs we all know as book recommendations in this first video, and then stay tuned for video 2 featuring the new songs and just some honorable mentions to some of my favorite purple books. But let's start with our OG tracks here. I'm not including ours if this was a movie and Superman until part 2 as well, I should mention. So this is mine through Long Live. That's our original set list, so that is what we are going with. Oh, I did also want to mention most of these. I know Taylor is very much a romance heavy, and a lot of these songs focus on like romance and breakups and that sort of thing, but I'm much more of a fantasy sci-fi reader, so that's what a lot of these books are, so they might not fit the entire vibe, but you'll see why I came up with the books that I did. So starting with number 1, mine, and hear me out. Hear me out. Divergent. Definitely not at all like the vibe of "you are the best thing that's ever been mine." But trust me, I made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter. She starts as abnegation, which is like the most selfless, like most careful per se faction, and ends up in Dauntless, which is like the biggest risk takers and whatnot. So she's a rebel now. You get it? You see what I'm putting down. I know you do. Yeah, so Divergent. Also, this is one of the best books that's ever been mine because it is a cherished book from childhood, middle school grade. So yeah, Divergent. We're going with Divergent for mine. Don't judge me. Book 2 is for Sparks Fly. I see sparks fly whenever you smile. I should go on American Idol, shouldn't I?
Well, you're going to Hollywood!
So for this one, I'm going with Girls of Paper and Fire, specifically because of the fire part, but also just because I think the romance in this is quite sparky, sparks flying. Basically, our main girl is taken and kidnapped into the king's service to be basically someone that he beds and doesn't wed, kind of thing. Every year they take a new host of girls in, and these are the Girls of Paper. This is a world in when like humans are the lowest class and demons are the highest class, so the Demon King is like taking all these females to take advantage of essentially, and there's nothing they can do about it, and she ends up falling in love with someone that is not the best person for her to fall in love with. So sparks are flying, that's for sure. Okay, book 3 is Back to December. This is a romance book. This is one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs, and I'm gonna go with Mistletoe and Mr. Right. This is book 2 in the Moose Springs series by Sarah Morgenthaler. This is set at a ski resort, so it fits that like wintry vibe. But our main characters, one is like a rich socialite and one is like this down-to-earth, I think he's like a lumberjack or some sort of like handyman of some sort. He just wants to live this relaxing life, have this traditional mindset, and keep everything as it is. And this rich socialite girl is coming in and changing everything and wants to take the small town and make it into this like big resort of sorts, and they are just butting heads about this. So I felt like this fit because in the song Back to December, it's about like the Taylor relationship, and all he wanted was like to settle down and like she like to be loved, and she just wanted to like make a name for herself at that point. So I feel like this kind of fits that vibe, if you get what I'm saying. Next is Speak Now, and in Speak Now it's all about, it's like a wedding crashing song essentially. I'm not gonna go into too many details, but my book recommendation is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas, specifically book 2. If you know, you know. But I definitely think this has the like Speak Now vibe. Yeah, if you know, you know. Okay, Dear John was so hard for me because I don't tend to read like sorrowful, heartbreaking, dark romance, dark things happening. My only other thing I could think of was My Dark Vanessa, because I know that deals with like grooming and like that type of vibe, and I don't know, this one was so hard for me and I almost didn't even want to do this song, but I ended up settling on Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is like a contemporary suspense thriller, and it starts off with our main girl waking up in like a pool of blood, and it's an unreliable narrator situation from there, but I think it has a little bit of Dear John vibes because she is a young singer and gets taken in by an older singer and works with him. So I think it has somewhat of a Dear John vibe. Next is Mean, and for this I'm going with Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith. This is a contemporary romance young adult. Our main 2 characters are super into this video game, and one is super popular. She's like a female Twitch streamer-esque kind of situation, and being a female streamer, she's obviously getting a lot of backlash from the men who feel like their like world is being taken over by females and who are essentially trolling her, and these characters or these like guys that are trolling her in the comments are starting to dox her, and so I felt like Mean kind of fit that because it's all about bullies. Next is Story of Us, and I couldn't decide. I have 2 recommendations for this one. The first is Love Curse of Melody McIntyre, and this is following a young girl who is a stage manager, and every year her and the crew come up with a superstition. They like have to follow the superstition throughout the year or throughout the show length to make the show go well when it opens. And this year they decide that Melody, like being in love or being in a relationship, is what is causing things to go wrong, so they tell her that she's not allowed to be in a relationship throughout the like rehearsal process. And of course she falls in love with the main actress in this show, and so she has to like pretend like they're not dating, and so when they're in a crowded room they're not speaking, and so on and so forth. And it's like The Story of Us looks like a lot like a tragedy now. They're doing the play Les Mis, which is a huge tragedy, so it just felt fitting. And then my other option following The Story of Us looks a lot like a tragedy now is Scythe. I don't know. If you've read Scythe, you would probably understand why I'm laughing, but essentially our 2 main character love interests love each other, but they are pit against each other, and whoever wins this trial has to kill the other. So I don't know what's more tragic than having to kill the person you love. I don't know. That's just me. Okay, Never Grow Up is such a like feel-good, nostalgic-y song, and it starts off almost from the perspective of like the parent, and then switches into the perspective of the person who grew up. And I felt like Little Women was a really good vibe for this because it has that cozy feel, and also because our main character Joe, like Marmee, I could definitely picture like, oh, don't you ever grow up, just stay this little. And then like Joe, I don't think really wants to grow up. She doesn't want to like fall in love or anything. She never wants to get her heart broken. All she wants to do is like play pretend and like write stories and stay with her sisters forever. So I felt like this was like that perfect recommendation for Never Grow Up. Flipping to my next page. Next is Enchanted, because I was sitting here trying to come up with a song, and I was playing through each of the songs, and the second I heard like the Enchanted start, I was like, alright, I already know what this book is going to be, and that's An Offer from a Gentleman, which literally has a scene where the girl walks into a ball and they have like this instant like looking at each other love, and then it's like a Cinderella-esque retelling, so she runs away and he's like enchanted to meet her, she's enchanted to meet him. It was the perfect book for Enchanted. And this is book 3 of the Bridgerton series. I would say each of the Bridgertons could stand on their own if you wanted to read them individually, but it is book 3 of the series. Next is Better Than Revenge, and this doesn't necessarily fit the lyrics, but it fits the vibe, because I don't know who's better than Revenge than Jude and the Cruel Prince. Such a like harsh vibe to her. I don't know if harsh is the right word, but she's definitely good at revenge. I would say her or any main character in any Sarah J Maas novel, being like Feyre or, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Crescent City, I cannot, Bryce, or Selena Sardothian. Any of those 3 are the best at revenge alongside Jude. So The Cruel Prince is my recommendation for Better Than Revenge. Innocent, which is actually her song to Kanye, so a little interesting, but I'm going with Furyborn specifically for the lines about like who you were is not who you've been, you're still an innocent, because we're following 2 perspectives. One is of Riel, who is going through these trials to determine if she's the Sun Queen, and then there is Eliana, who is known as like the Dread of Orleans, and she's killing all these people who are rebelling, but they're actually like innocent good people, and she's starting to feel guilty about it. So specifically Riel, I would say for innocent, because she's starting to feel that guilt and being placed in the situation she wasn't really able to do anything about it, so who, like, the killings are not who she is, if that makes sense. So Furyborn by Claire Legrand for innocent. So for Haunted, I really struggled with which one to pick for this. I think I'm gonna go with Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. It's got like a horror-y paranormal romance situation going on, and also her twin sister was killed. She's like, don't leave me like this. Like, obviously she doesn't want her sister to leave her like this, you know? But essentially she teams up with the devil in order to track down her sister's killer. It's a really fun, like, paranormal romantasy. For Last Kiss, I'm going with One Last Stop, because we are following a romance in which a girl falls in love, a ghost essentially, but it's a girl from like a past lifetime who got stuck on this train, like stuck in time, is just kind of haunting this train, and our main character falls in love with her. When the power goes out, they have like one last kiss. So heartbreaking, also beautiful, good for one last kiss. And for Long Live, our last book of this recommendation video. I don't even know if it fits the lyrics, but this book is my entire personality right now, and Speak Now is my entire personality right now, and it mentions dragons and magic and all the memories and everything we made, so we're going with Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I know, I'm pretty sure in Long Live it's like fighting dragons, and this one we're riding dragons, but dragons are mentioned, and this features dragons, so we're going with Fourth Wing for Long Live. Don't fight me, we're doing it. Everyone please read this book. It is incredible, worth every second of the hype it is getting. Definitely one of my favorite books of all time now. It's about a Dragon Riders Academy. Need I say more? So those are my recommendations for the first half of Taylor Swift Speak Now Taylor's Versions songs. Let me know what books you would have picked, or what song you think fits best for the book I picked for it, and I'll see you in part 2 of this book recommendation video. Bye friends!